Hello there. Gobbles and giggles to you. I am Dean the Turkey Legster, and it is another Thursday night. Welcome to episode 54 of Once Upon a Turkey Leg. Um, Very glad to be with you tonight, and I hope you're having a great day. I've had a great day. Central Florida is having some pleasant weather for a couple days, and I was outside enjoying it this afternoon. Very pleasant day, and I've got to work the next 2 days. Um, so it was good to have a day off and um, enjoy the nice weather that Florida's having. So I've got we are approaching Easter coming up here in a few weeks. The 9th of April. Hold on, 9th of April. Yes, the 9th of April is going to be Easter Sunday, and so I've got a series of stories that I am going to be reading leading up to that. And hey, Tina, welcome in, and hello to Chuck as well. I did not do any walking today. I was in Epcot yesterday. For anyone watching who didn't realize, I was in Epcot. Did a lot of walking. Um, I kind of didn't do any full walks around the loop, but I feel like I probably went around twice while I was there, because I took the friendship boat across initially, and then I walked around. Let's see, I took the friendship boat across when I, first got there. And then I would have walked around to, well, I guess I went around probably. It probably comes out to about twice that I walked around the park. And like I've done before, I don't think I drank enough water while I was there. I don't think I sat down and rested enough. I did do both of those things, but anyway, I have two parts of a stream that I did yesterday. They're on the channel. You can go back and visit that, looking at Flower and Garden Festival. And while I'm mentioning that, I didn't have time to put these in the slideshow. But I have a couple of the topiaries that I would like to show, and they are related to tonight's stream, tonight's stories. And if you saw the thumbnail, if you noticed the thumbnail, you already might have a clue as to what the stories are. But here is the Bambi topiary that I saw yesterday. That is up at the front of the World Showcase, near going towards Canada. And then a little ways over next to them, next to Bambi, we have Flower and Thumper. And so those are some pictures that I got. And then this is a little darker. but I got a selfie with Bambi over there, and I did not realize that the side of my hat was up, but I think it still came out pretty darn good, and I'll have to probably post those, put those up on Instagram. When I get done here, I'll go ahead. Adventures by D, welcome in. Happy Thursday. All right, so I am going to go ahead and get on with the stories. Tonight, I've got, as usual, I have got 2 stories, and welcome in, Diana. Welcome in tonight's stories. The first story is Walt Disney's Bambi. Walt Disney's Bambi. So, without further ado, we have Walt Disney's Bambi from the Walt Disney Motion Picture Bambi, from the story by Felix Salten, translated by Whitaker Chambers, illustrations by the Walt Disney Studio, adapted by Bob Grant. Bambi came into the world in the middle of a thicket, one of those little hidden forest glades which seem to be open but are really screened in on all sides. The magpie was the first to discover him. "This is quite an occasion," he said. "It isn't often that a young prince is born. Congratulations." Bambi's mother looked up. "Thank you," she said quietly. Then she nudged her sleeping baby gently with her nose. "Wake up," she whispered. "Wake up." The fawn lifted his head and looked around. He looked frightened and edged closer to his mother's body. She licked him reassuringly and nudged him again. He pushed up on his thin hind legs, trying to stand. His forelegs kept crumbling, but at last they bore his weight, and he stood beside his mother. "What are you going to name the young prince?" asked the baby rabbit. "I'll call him Bambi," his mother answered. "Bambi," repeated the rabbit. "That's a good name. My name's Thumper." And he hopped away with his mother and sisters. The little fawn sank down and nestled close to his mother. She licked his spotted red coat softly. The birds and animals slipped away through the forest, leaving the thicket in peace and quiet. The forest was beautiful in the summer. The trees stood still under the blue sky, and out of the earth came troops of flowers, unfolding their red, white, and yellow stars. Bambi liked to follow his mother down the forest paths, so narrow that the thick, leafy bushes stroked his flanks as he passed. Sometimes a branch tripped him or a bush tangled about his legs, but always his mother walked easily and surely. Hi, Tim. Welcome in. I don't know if I don't think the squirrel had a name that we know of. There were friends all along these forest paths. The opossums, hanging by their long tails from the branches of a tree, said, "Hello, Prince Bambi." As Bambi and his mother reached a little clearing in the forest, they met Thumper and his family. Here's the opossums. "Come on, Bambi," said Thumper. "Let's play." And Bambi began to run on his stiff, spindly legs. Then he saw a family of birds on a low branch. He stared at them. "These are birds, Bambi," Thumper said. And then here's Thumper. There's the whole picture. Thumper and the bunnies. "Birds," said Bambi slowly. It was his first word. When he saw a butterfly flutter across the path, he cried, "Bird, bird," again. "No, Bambi," said Thumper. "That's not a bird. It's a butterfly." Then Bambi saw a clump of yellow flowers, and he bounded towards them. "Butterfly!" he cried. "No, Bambi," said Thumper. "Flower." Suddenly, he drew back. Suddenly, he drew back. Out from the bed of flowers came a small black head with two gleaming eyes. "Flower," said Bambi. "That's not a flower," Thumper giggled. "That's a skunk." "Flower," said Bambi again. "The young prince can call me Flower if he wants to," said the skunk. "I don't mind. In fact, I like it." Bambi had made another friend. Oops, sorry about that. One morning, Bambi and his mother walked down a path where the fawn had never been. A few steps more, and they would be in a meadow. "Wait here until I call you," she said. "The meadow is not always safe." She listened in all directions and called, "Come!" Bambi bounded out. Joy seized him and he leaped into the air 3, 4, 5 times. "Catch me," his mother cried, and she bounded ahead. Bambi started after her. He felt as if he were flying without any effort. As he stopped for breath, he saw standing beside him a small fawn. "Hello," she said, moving nearer to him. Bambi, shy, bounded away to where he saw his friend, Flower the skunk, playing. He pretended he did not see the new little fawn. "Don't be afraid, Bambi," his mother said. "That is little Feline. Her mother is your Aunt Enna." Soon Bambi and Feline were racing around the hillocks. There's Bambi and Flower. And then Bambi and Feline. Suddenly there was a sound of hoofbeats and figures of hoofbeats and figures. Wait, let me start that over. Suddenly there was a sound of hoofbeats and figures came bursting out of the woods. They were the stags. One of the stags was larger and stronger than all the others. This was the great prince of the forest, very brave and wise. The great stag uttered one dreadful word. Man. Instantly, birds and animals rushed toward the woods. As Bambi and his mother disappeared into the trees, they heard behind them on the meadow loud, roaring noises, terrifying to Bambi's ears. One second. Later, as Bambi and his mother lay safely in their thicket, his mother explained, "Man, Bambi, it was man in the meadow. He brings danger and death to the forest with his long stick that roars and spurts flames. Someday you will understand." One morning, Bambi woke up shivering with cold. His nose told him there was something strange in the world. When he looked out through the thicket, he saw everything covered with white. "It's snow, Bambi," his mother said. "Go ahead and walk out." Cautiously, Bambi stepped on the surface of the snow and saw his feet sink down in it. The air was calm, and the sun on the white snow sparkled. Bambi was delighted. As he walked, stepping high and carefully, a breeze shifted a branch above him ever so slightly, just enough to tip a heavy load of snow on Bambi's head. He jumped high in the air, startled and frightened, then ran on, licking the snow from his nose. It tasted good, clean, and cool. Thumper was playing on the ice-covered pond, and Bambi trotted gingerly down the slope and out onto the smooth ice, too. His front legs shot forward, his rear legs slipped back, and down he crashed. He looked up to see Thumper laughing at him. He finally lurched to his feet and skidded across the ice dizzily, landing head first in a snowbank on the shore. As he pulled himself out of the drift, he and Thumper heard a faint sound of snoring. Peering down into a deep burrow, they saw the little skunk lying peacefully asleep on a bed of withered flowers. "Wake up, Flower," Bambi called. "Is it spring yet?" Flower asked sleepily. "No, winter's just beginning," said Bambi. "I'm hibernating," the little skunk smiled. "Flowers always sleep in the winter," and he dozed off again. So Bambi learned about winter. It was a difficult time for all the animals in the forest. Food grew scarce. Sometimes Bambi and his mother had to strip bark from trees and eat it. At last, when they seemed they could find no more to eat, there was a change in the air. Thin sunshine filtered through the bare branches, and the air was a little warmer. That day, too, Bambi's mother dug under the soft snow and found a few blades of pale green grass. Bambi and his mother were nibbling at the grass when suddenly they smelled man. As they lifted their heads, there came a deafening roar like thunder. "Quick, Bambi," his mother said. "Run for the thicket. Don't stop, no matter what happens." Bambi darted away and heard his mother's footsteps and I'm back. I hope I'm not lagging. Okay. Bambi darted away and heard his mother's footsteps behind him. Then came another roar from man's guns. Bambi dashed among the trees in terrified speed. But when he came at last to the thicket, his mother was not in sight. He sniffed the air for her smell, listened for her hoofbeats. There was nothing. Oh, am I back? Okay. Whoops, is this two pages? Oh, okay. So, um, Bambi raced out into the forest, calling wildly for his mother. Silently, the old stag appeared beside him. "Your mother can't be with you any more," the stag said. "You must learn to walk alone." In silence, Bambi followed the great stag off through the snow-filled forest. Soon it was spring. Everything was turning green, and the leaves looked fresh and smiling. Suddenly, Bambi looked up and saw another deer. "Hello, Bambi," said the other deer. "Don't you remember me? I'm Feline." Bambi stared at her. Feline was now a graceful and beautiful doe. A strange excitement swept over Bambi. When Feline trotted up and licked his face, Bambi started to dash away. But after a few steps, he stopped. Feline dashed into the bushes, and Bambi followed. Suddenly, Rano, a buck with big antlers, stood between Bambi and Feline. "Stop!" he cried. "Feline is going with me." Bambi stood still as Rano nudged Feline down the path. Suddenly he shot forward, and they charged together with a crash. Again and again they came together, forehead to forehead. Then a prong broke from Rano's antlers. A terrific blow tore open his shoulder, and he fell to the ground, sliding down a rocky embankment. As Rano limped off into the forest, Bambi and Feline walked away through the woods. At night they trotted onto the meadow, where they stood in the moonlight, listening to the east wind and the west wind calling to each other. Early one morning in the autumn, Bambi sniffed the scent of man. The great stag came and said, "Yes, Bambi, it's man, with tents and campfires. We must go to the hills." Bambi ran back to the thicket for Feline. The sounds of man and the barking of dogs came closer. He lunged at the dogs and called, "Run, Feline!" The roar of a gun crashed almost beside him, but he dashed ahead as a killing pain shot through him. The old stag appeared and said, The forest has caught fire from the flames of man's campfires. We must go to the river. They plunged into the raging fire and then fell into cool rushing water. Panting and breathless, they struggled onto a safe shore, already crowded with other animals. With a cry of joy, Feline came running to him and gently licked the wound on his shoulder. Together they stood on the shore and watched the flames destroy their forest home. But soon spring came again, and green leaves and grass and flowers covered the scars left by the fire. Again, news went through the forest. Come along to the thicket. At the thicket, the squirrels and rabbits and birds were peering through the undergrowth at Feline and two spotted fawns. And not far away was Bambi, the proud father, and the new great prince of the forest. And that is the end of Bambi. Alrighty, well, that was our first story tonight. For our second story, I have another story with our friends from the Bambi world. Our next story tonight is Bambi, the Light Up Night. And this is from this collection, Disney Bedtime Favorites. And here we go with story number 2. But just give me 1 second. Okay. Here we go. The golden sun dipped behind the trees, bathing the forest in beautiful twilight. It was time for the animals to go to bed. In the thicket, the little quails scurried one by one into their nest. The mice cuddled together in the thistles. Thumper and the other bunnies splashed each other as they washed up before bed. Bambi smiled as he curled up next to his mother. One animal wasn't getting ready for bed, though. In the trees, Friend Owl was just beginning to wake up. He slept all through the day while the other animals were awake. At night, when the moon rose into the sky, so did the wise old owl. There are the quails. And all the other forest animals and Friend Owl. I don't think so, Tina. I think this is a friendlier story. Friend Owl poked his head out of the hollow tree. Friend Owl, tell us a bedtime story, Thumper hollered. He was so excited that his foot went thump, thump, thump. Remember your manners, his mother said. Sorry, Thumper said. Tell us a story, please. Not tonight, Friend Owl said. The shooting stars will soon put on a show. and I don't want to miss it. Bambi's ears perked up. What was a shooting star? He wasn't sure, but he wanted to find out. And Bambi wasn't the only one. I want to see the shooting stars too, Bambi cried. It's getting dark, Bambi's mother said in a soft voice, and it's a long way to the meadow. I'll look after the young prince and Thumper, Friend Owl offered. They'll be safe with me. Friend Owl flew slowly overhead, watching as Bambi and Thumper pranced along beneath him. In the deepening darkness, Bambi and Thumper could hear the song of the crickets. All of a sudden, Bambi saw a bright spark. I saw it, he cried. Friend Owl smiled kindly at him. No, Bambi, he said, that was a firefly. Oh, Bambi said, watching in wonder, as one by one fireflies lit up the meadow. It was a beautiful sight, but Bambi and Thumper still wanted to see the shooting stars. The friends waited quietly as the sky grew darker. Soon there was just a thin sliver of moon gleaming overhead. That's good, Friend Owl said approvingly. A dark night will make the shooting stars easier to see. Just then, a brilliant flash lit up the entire sky. Look, Thumper shouted. I saw the first shooting star. But before anyone could respond, a rumble of thunder rolled across the meadow. Thumper hadn't seen a shooting star after all. It was a bolt of lightning. Oh no. Bambi, Thumper, and Friend Owl scurried back to the forest as raindrops pelted the meadow. Thick clouds billowed across the sky, blocking the moon and stars. The friends huddled under the canopy of trees, waiting for the storm to pass. Bambi sighed. With so many clouds covering the sky, how would he ever see a shooting star? I guess we'd better go home, Bambi said sadly. Thumper was too disappointed to even thump his foot. Now, not so fast, little ones, Friend Owl said reassuringly. Summer storms blow over before you know it. Be patient. The shooting stars are worth the wait. After a while, the steady drumming of rain began to slow. A cool breeze ruffled the leaves and blew the clouds from the sky. Is it over? Bambi asked. Can we see shooting stars now? Let's find out, replied Friend Owl. At the edge of the meadow, Bambi, Thumper, and Friend Owl saw that the fireflies had stopped flashing and the lightning was over. The night was clear, but still. Then it happened. A spark of light high above them. It plunged toward the ground, leaving a shining white streak behind it. Bambi gasped in surprise. What was it? He asked. A real shooting star? That's right, young prince, Friend Owl hooted happily. Soon another shooting star zoomed overhead, and another, and another. The night sky was full of them. The three friends watched the sky for hours. Finally, there were no more stars. It's time to go home now, Friend Owl said. But I want to see more shooting stars, Thumper whined. And you will, Friend Owl promised, when the time is right. Back in the thicket, Bambi snuggled close to his mother. As he told her all about the shooting stars, he closed his eyes. Behind his eyelids, he could still see the brilliant shooting stars. It had been the perfect night. And that is the end of our second story tonight. I hope you all enjoyed that story as much as I enjoyed reading those to you tonight, featuring the characters from Bambi. So coming up next week on Once Upon a Turkey Leg, I have a couple of special St. Patrick's Day stories, and I hope you'll come back and join me for those. It will be the 16th next Thursday, so the day before St. Patrick's Day, and I'm very excited to share these stories with you. So with that, thank you everyone so much for watching tonight. Oh, hi Don, welcome in. Happy Thursday. Let me see if I missed. Okay. So, yeah, so join me next Thursday for another fun Once Upon a Turkey Leg. And join me for my other streams on Sunday night, Drumsticks After Dark, as well as next Tuesday, Let's Talk Turkey. Looking forward to those streams with you guys. And I'll have some couple other videos possibly over the weekend from my visit to Epcot yesterday. So with that, thank you so much everyone for coming in and joining me tonight. Have a great weekend. I think I just said that. Anyway, if you have not already, bop the like button. And if you're watching the replay, let me know in the comments and I will respond to you as soon as I can. Usually pretty promptly, I try to be. And so take care, everyone, and I will see you